My husband nearly killed me, so I escaped and got a restraining order. Now, 1 year later, he's posting my private photos online and threatening me through flowers left on my doorstep. In my family, women were basically treated as property, whose only purpose was sacrificing our bodies and lives to serve our husbands. I was literally married off at 18 to a family friend in his late 20s, and was expected to give him everything just so he wouldn't beat me. My mom made it painfully clear from day one what my role was supposed to be. Your husband's happiness comes first. Your job, your dreams, they don't matter. And it wasn't just her words. It was in the way she treated my husband like he was a king whenever he walked into the house. He didn't even have to lift a finger. The second he walked through our door, my mom was at his side offering him food, telling me to go fetch him his favorite robe and slippers. Meanwhile, I'd spent the day cooking, cleaning, and trying to hold back my frustration and exhaustion. Over the years, I did everything to make my husband happy. Cooked his favorite dishes, wore outfits he liked when we went out, walked around our house unclothed, and kept quiet when he laid hands on me. But the more I tried, the more he expected. And every time I had a new bruise, my mom would see it and tell me it was my fault for setting him off. Then one night, Ethan left his phone unlocked. I never snooped, but then a bing from a woman's name I didn't recognize told me to check. That's when I saw it. Endless text between him and someone else. Romantic texts, photos, conversations where he vented about how I didn't do enough for him. My stomach twisted. I sat through scrolling the messages, long enough for my husband to come in and catch me. But when he caught me looking at his phone, he didn't apologize. He didn't lay hands on me like I expected either. Instead, he said, "See, this is exactly why I had to find someone else. You're always invading my space, suffocating me." I went to my mom hoping maybe she'd support me for once. But when I told her, she shook her head with a sigh. "What did you expect? You kept pushing and demanding attention. Men don't like that." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. That was the moment I finally saw it. Just how deep this clearly toxic mindset went. I knew I needed to get out. I stayed silent about it at first, because I didn't want to lose them both. The idea of being completely alone terrified me. But then I started online therapy in secret, and my therapist slowly helped me realize my worth. I wasn't the problem in this marriage. I'd been conditioned to think I was. And with her emotional help, I started quietly gathering evidence of my husband's infidelity and abuse. For the first time ever, I started doing things for myself. Small things like secretly opening my own bank account, secretly looking for jobs, and even preparing a potential escape plan. My husband eventually found the documents I'd hidden. He exploded with anger, screaming, throwing things, accusing me of betrayal, laying hands on me until I was on the floor red, pouring out my mouth. He called my mom, and she rushed over, not to comfort me, but to comfort Ethan. She turned on me instantly, yelling at me while I was still on the floor. That hurt more than the punches. In the weeks following, they started publicly shaming me to the family, both of them working overtime to make everyone believe I was unstable, manipulative, and cruel. But by this point, something inside me finally snapped into place. The next day, despite my shaking hands in fear, I filed for divorce. I took every piece of evidence I had and prepared myself for the legal battle of my life. During the courtroom drama, I had to relive every painful detail of my marriage in front of strangers, defending myself against vicious accusations. My husband and my mom tried everything to break me down, painting me as selfish and unstable, but I stood my ground. And after what felt like forever, the judge ruled in my favor. When she announced her decision, the relief was so overwhelming I nearly collapsed. Melissa squeezed my arm in silent congratulation as my husband Ethan's lawyer whispered urgently to him. My mother sat rigid in her seat, lips pressed into a thin line of disapproval. Walking out of that courtroom, I felt a lightness I'd never experienced, as if I could finally breathe freely for the first time in my life. The courthouse steps stretched before me as I emerged into the sunlight. My lawyer, Melissa, squeezed my shoulder reassuringly before returning inside to finalize paperwork. I paused, simply breathing, in and out, without anyone dictating how or when I should breathe. The air smelled fresh after a morning rain, and somewhere nearby a bird was singing. These simple sensations felt new and precious now that they were truly mine to experience. I noticed the texture of the stone steps beneath my feet, the gentle breeze against my